Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to PWR Feedback Friday. Hashtag Feedback Friday. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And in this show, we take a look at and discuss some of your comments from our broadcasts last week. And let's go back 7 days to last week's Feedback Friday. We had some comments from several of you, especially on our YouTube channel.
They don't get a second roundabout, do they?
Also using hashtag PWR TV. What do you mean?
If you were in last week, you really shouldn't. You can't bring up the same subject again the following week.
Well, there's no duplicates.
Okay. Well, I'm just making sure. I don't like duplicates.
Let's go to our first comment, which comes to us from a user by the name of Ecstasy69.
That's creative.
The username. And this was on actually last Saturday's primetime was this comment, and this user said, and I quote, "So instead of letting AJ go to Ring of Honor with the belt, they let him go, making him better than the TNA World Champion."
How? How is he better than the TNA World Champion?
Well, the TNA World Champion was portrayed to be very, very weak, and that point was made by Sting last night on Impact.
Okay.
And the fact that it took 47 people to beat AJ Styles to become the TNA champion.
I'm tired of having to explain this to you and all of them. Let's look at Magnus, the current TNA Impact World Heavyweight Champion.
He's British, you know.
He is British, you know. He's tall, he's muscular, he's good looking.
Just like me.
He has an accent that the women like.
I do too.
Well, just on that package part of him alone, why would you want to hate the guy?
You're talking about the package now?
The total package, not his
Not Lex
package, your
Luger.
toolbox. Where is your mind?
Whoa.
And why would you think of Magnus's package to begin with?
You brought it up.
You giggle like a schoolgirl about it. Who wouldn't want to be Magnus? Good-looking, jacked guy, he's the world champion. But you throw in the nonsense of him having to cheat to win, which that's what heels are supposed to do. They're supposed to cheat to win. Cheat the babyface. The babyface plays by the rules. The bad guy cheats. Magnus needs to cheat. That's why he's the heel. So that's where the dislike for Magnus is supposed to be. That's the heat for Magnus, is that he cheats. That's why they did it that way. If Magnus just beats AJ without cheating, and he's the bad guy, well, I don't want to be AJ. Now I want to be the good-looking guy that beats everybody up and doesn't need to cheat to win.
Next comment comes from a user by the name of...
Am I wrong?
You're not right.
Oh, please.
User by the name of Das
sense.
Santos, who says, this again a comment on last Saturday's primetime, I like to compare what TNA did for AJ Styles' final match with what WWE did for Caitlyn's final match. WWE let her and AJ perform for 10 minutes, a very rare thing for Divas matches. WWE allowed them to perform. TNA could have had Magnus and Styles actually wrestle for 10 to 15 minutes, then have the heels interfere at the end. That would make Magnus look like an undeserving yet strong champion, and had AJ Styles go out with a bang. Previous point?
I'm not going to repeat what I just said. I told you I don't like duplicates.
More on AJ Styles and TNA Wrestling. This comes from Triple RP on YouTube. He says, and I quote, "All of those guys attacking AJ Styles gives Dixie more heat as the evil owner. AJ cannot win that match under any circumstances. Therefore, he had to be crushed. And it supports the statements Dixie made to AJ earlier in the evening. It was the most entertaining, no disqualification match that I've seen in a while. It was actually total nonstop action throughout. I think the match had very little to do with Magnus. Did it enhance Dixie as the evil heel owner?"
Well, she wasn't out there for the match, really. I mean, she was there for bits and pieces, but Dixie does it on her own just by talking every week. Doesn't need to be a part of the match for any of that stuff.
Now, there's heel heat, and we've talked about heel heat, and I think we'll talk about this a little more on primetime tomorrow night. What kind of heel heat does Dixie have?
She has changed the channel heat, where you almost want to change the channel. I know you do all the time.
Next comes from a user by the name of LinkLex7. This was on last Saturday's primetime as well. Great episode. Thought when it came to surprise spoiler-free returns, I'm surprised you guys didn't mention Lex Luger showing up on the premiere of WCW Nitro 1 week after he was on WWF Raw. That shocked me so much when I was young. That actually happening in Minneapolis at the Mall of America.
Mall of America. Pasta Mania. Hulk Hogan's restaurant was there.
Very first issue, very first episode of WCW Monday Nitro, and that was indeed surprising because that was the first shot in what would become the Monday Night Wars.
And it started everything. I mean, he had Hulk Hogan against Ray Traylor, right?
Big boss man-ish, yeah.
Yeah, big boss man, whatever gimmick he had at that time. He wasn't the guardian angel or whatever then, but yeah, I mean, spoiler-free. How come we're talking about spoiler-free stuff all of a sudden?
Last Saturday on Primetime, we talked about some of the best returns that weren't spoiled in advance of return. That was just 6 days ago.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Next comment comes from one of your favorites, David Hero, a user on on YouTube by the name of Conquers Squirrel. See what he did there?
I see that.
And I quote, Daniel Bryan didn't win the big one, so he didn't cleanly beat Cena in the middle of the ring at SummerSlam for the title. Daniel Bryan can't sell out arenas, yet the whole arena only chants for Daniel Bryan together. This was in reference to the comments about
That's
Daniel
right.
Bryan.
It's very cheap to go like this every week. Buy a T-shirt. Show them you're a true fan. Invest financially, money-wise, into the Daniel Bryan character.
We are not privy to the amount of money and revenue that is generated by Daniel Bryan merchandise
I can
sales.
tell by looking at the audience. You can see how many kids are wearing a John Cena shirt as opposed to a Daniel Bryan T-shirt.
Maybe they don't make them in
And you
kid
know
sizes.
what? When I see more women wearing Daniel Bryan T-shirts, then I know he's making money. Because when there's women in the audience, that's when you're profitable.
Next one comes from David Crawford, a real name.
How about that?
That's rare.
It could be.
This in reference to our Feedback Friday show last week. Says, and I quote, I miss the old TNA now. Instead of anticipating matches, I just hit fast forward on my DVR until I see a wrestler I like. At least Brad Maddox is horrible in a good way that makes you want to watch the product. Dixie Carter sucks. His words, not mine. The only thing she did right was bringing on
that's like a
EC3.
Freudian slip or double entendre kind of thing?
Well, I don't know. David Hero.
Just curious. Dixie I think the Dixie Carter we see on television is just an extension of who she really is.
Really?
I don't think she's trying that
She'd
hard.
be good if that were the case.
Listen, Dixie was not raised in the wrestling business.
Where's your shirt? Your Dixieland shirt. For Dixieland.
Well, I'm not on Team Dixie right now.
You're not?
No.
You love EC3. You love
I do. The
Rockstar
Bromans and
Spud.
EC3, those guys are fantastic talents. And I think they're going to be very pivotal for the growth.
Pivotable?
Yeah, they are pivotal.
Pivotable.
Yeah.
That was pivotable.
It's my new word for the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's edition of Feedback Friday is brought to you by the letter P.
For pivotal. Prick with ears.
Final comment comes from Sam Warren. Says, and I quote, I love PWR, very entertaining shows, but Feedback Friday really angers me because it's just a bunch of idiots taking shots at David Hero and the show in general.
See, exactly.
It's the difference in opinions between Mr. Hero and Mr. Nelson that make the show entertaining. Imagine how boring it would be if for 29 minutes they just agreed with each other.
That could never happen.
So shut up bitching and just enjoy the show. Those Sam's words, not ours.
You know, I like Sam. He's a super friend, obviously. Even though it was Mr. Hero and Damien, you obviously changed that.
You obviously haven't read your contract lately because I get top billing on anything and everything, including the big event next Saturday night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
We're going to be in Pittsburgh, aren't
Pittsburgh, next Saturday, kicking off the Royal Rumble with Big Sexy Kevin Nash and the stars of Ring of Honor. That at Latitude 40. Tickets available right now at pwrshow.com.
It's a Q&A with Kevin Nash?
It's a Q&A
We get to ask him whatever we want?
Whatever you want, and there will be a lot of great questions, I'm sure, for Kevin Nash, who always answers things very candidly, and the cameras will not be rolling, so you will never see this unless you are there live. Much like the big event we did last year, Legends or Tales from the Ring, with Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Gene Okerlund. Still, if you weren't one of the several hundred people in attendance there, you have no idea what happened, and it was epic.
Imagine when Kevin Nash gets into the airport in Pittsburgh.
Oh, look, Kevin Nash is here. He must be in the Royal Rumble.
So when you see those...
He's actually there for our event.
When you see those reports, those news reports, those...
News?
Dirt sheet reports...
Dirt sheet?
Please,
You said that.
Well, yeah, I did. Please correctly tweet them that he's in town for the PWR show.
And that it's not news because we've been talking about this event for about a month and a half.
Exactly.
But anyways, it's going to be a great event. Get your tickets now, pwrshow.com. And that is going to be happening on next Saturday night. And then also, David Hero, big announcement tomorrow night. Linda has in the event center of our partnership with WrestleCon as part of WrestleMania weekend. Several talents announced. But in advance of that, we'd like to share with you that, well, There is the Shenanigans World Order. You know about that? Kevin Nash, Scott Hall doing a big Q&A session. Special event
World Order.
Friday night as part of WrestleCon and as part of PWR weekend festivities. But now, the Shenanigans After Party is back, David Hero. Kevin Nash going to be hosting all of his best friends and all the greatest stars in wrestling for the big after party after the Shenanigans World Order. That all included with your SWO ticket, which also is available at PWRshow.com.
My biggest concern is you and Linda on Bourbon Street with hurricanes.
Actually, you should be concerned about the hand grenades. Not
We
the
need
hurricanes.
a bail bondsman.
I got one.
Do you?
Oh, several.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank God.
I come prepared. All those events.
Hand grenades.
All those events available for sale right now, PWRshow.com. That's this week's Feedback Friday. Remember, you can be a part of it, ladies and gentlemen. All you need to do is comment down yonder below. And
we'll
share
criticize
your
you next week. So
he will criticize you. I will treat you respectfully as viewers and fans of this program, as you should be treated here each and every week. We'll see you tomorrow night on Primetime. And then next Friday, actually Monday, it's the launch of the Double D podcast, David Hero. We're doing a podcast.
Yeah, I saw the run sheet.
It's going to be pivotal to
It will be
PWR.
pivotal and hopefully profitable, but it's free, so I doubt that's going to happen.
For that one, this is Davey Nelson. We'll see you tomorrow on Primetime.